Hello, and welcome to the Drive Home Podcast, a podcast where I am the only one who needs to wear a seatbelt. I hope. I don't know. I don't even know, I guess it would make more sense if this podcast was for listening to while you're driving home or to work, honestly. That would be what makes the most sense. Anyway, this is the podcast where I'm going to talk for 15 to 25 minutes, possibly longer if I start ranting, because I'm going to drive home from work, and I thought this would be a fun way to pass the time. Today, I started at 9:30, and I got out at 3:30. I was supposed to get out at 3, but 5.5 hours is a crap time to work, so I chose to stay an extra half an hour so I could have a lunch. And let me tell you, if your job kind of has too many employees to pay attention, working 5.5 hours versus working 6 hours is basically the same thing in most places, I would assume. I think, because at least the way that it works for me is every 4 hours is a required 15-minute break that you get paid for, and every 6 hours is, well, of course, the 4-hour break and one 30-minute unpaid lunch, which means it doesn't count towards you don't get paid to take your 30-minute lunch. But that also means you're not responsible for anything at your work while you're on your lunch. And you can, in theory, leave work if they allow it, I guess. I feel like there might be some places that tell you can't leave. But I don't know. Anyway. And then there's, at least for me, there is 7 hours of work, which gets you an additional 15-minute break. So if you work for 7 hours or more, you get 2 15-minute breaks that you do get paid for, and one lunch break, which is 30 minutes long and that you don't get paid for. So a simple way to cheat the system is if you're working for 5.5 hours, and sometimes I don't think it really matters all that much, especially for the business in question, since the pay will be the exact same. But so here's how it would look on a sheet. So you're scheduled to work 5.5 hours. You're working for 4 hours, so you get one paid for 15-minute break. So you're technically getting paid for the full 5.5 hours you're there. Now, if you work for 6 hours, you get one 30-minute unpaid lunch, where you don't get paid for that. So your total pay for working technically for 6 hours is only 5.5 hours worth of pay. So it's the exact same pay both ways. So at least for me, that's how it is. I don't know if it's different in other places. I don't know if you get paid lunches. I doubt it, but that's interesting, I guess. Anyway, I'm heading home, as always, because that's the name of the... I said this before, but I tend to state the obvious. And I forget that I do that. So I'm trying, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'm trying not to, but it just happened. So I hope the audio quality is better. I have a less jackety shirt to wear, and it's really thin, so I hope the sound will travel easier until I can get something more permanent. I wonder what I'm gonna do for that. Honestly, I honestly have no idea. I kind of just started this one day. I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing anything else. I could listen to music and be alone with. Well, I've said this before. I could listen to music and be alone with my thoughts, but instead of that, I'll speak my thoughts to the public, and I won't be alone with them. And instead of, sounding crazy and yelling at random people out my window, I thought it would be better to start a podcast. This way, if I ever forget anything, if I ever forget my past, I don't know. No, only one of my friends actually knows this exact podcast exists. So that would, that'll be fun. Just if I did get amnesia. Have you ever just wanted to get amnesia for I don't know. I honestly wonder what that feels like. Because to a certain extent, it must feel like you're a baby again for a second. Or whenever I don't know how everyone's memories work, but I was only able to remember things around the time I turned 3. Because my first memory is waking up in the morning in my own bed, which I had. But I already knew a bunch of stuff, which makes sense. But I didn't know where I knew it from. It was... And maybe this is a clue that God is dead. But for the longest time, though it also kind of felt extremely short, there was nothing. It's impossible to really tell because it's a very long ago memory, but I vaguely remember what it was like before waking up for the first time with a memory, I guess. And it was just, there was nothing. There was darkness and nothing, and I maybe I just wasn't dreaming. I don't know. I don't. It's hard to remember since that'll end up being about at least 17 years ago now. Coming up on 18, I think. No, it's 16 years ago, right? No, wait. Now I'm confusing myself. So I'll be turning 21 this year in a couple months. So 21 to 3 is, wow, so 18. Yeah, 18. But it's it's around 17 and 3/4 years or something right now. Long story short, I don't it's weird because it's not scary, at least. That's okay. Well, this is taking a dark turn, but I think it's interesting that I can remember stuff like this. It's just I always remember very particular things about specific events. A lot of my memory is terrible. Honestly, if you asked me what I had yesterday for a certain meal, if I wasn't 100% sure, honestly, I just might not be able to tell you. Honestly, my memory is that bad to a certain extent. But it's also not, because I can remember lore for entire video games, not FNAF. I have no idea what's going on with that. All I really know is purple guy killed children and stuffed them in suits, and everything else is I don't know. Ask Matt Pat, I guess. Though sadly he's retired now. Anyway, let's go back to being sad about my depressing memory of possibly there being no God. So, well, that's hard to say because that's in the beginning. And I don't really know, because I know when you die you're supposed to either go to heaven or hell, but where are you before you're born, I guess? Because for Jesus, or whatever, the story is like God just sent him, but he was still a baby and new to the world. That's confusing. This stuff is so confusing. I'm not big on religion. Like, there are certain religions I like the sound of, or I like the aesthetic of more, but I guess probably I know the most about Norse mythology, and then I don't even know what it is called, because there's so many that just have like the one God or whatever, with like, you know, the Jesus and stuff. The one with the Bible. Wait, no, that's like all of them, isn't it? They each have their own different Bible, but it's all called like the Bible, or maybe some of them aren't. I don't know. Anyway, it's just, I don't know. It feels like you could write this down as like in a book or something, but just like endless, infinite darkness, sort of. But it wasn't darkness. It was just, well, it was the emptiness of space, I guess. It was literally nothing. It was, I don't know, and maybe that was comforting, or maybe I was just unaware, because coming into existence doesn't make a lot of sense to a brain. Because that's all we are. We're just brains. And to like quote a meme, we're just brains in our flesh mechs or something. And that's literally all we are, to a certain extent. There's a that's funny. There was a crow who was standing on some wet paint, which is just hilarious. At least I hope that's the wet paint. Otherwise, I don't know. It looks fresh. But you know, emptiness, the lack of light or space or time. What could have been a second could have been a year. Though honestly, time is relative, so it's super confusing. I don't know. That's just something I remember, because I've always remembered certain events in my life, and I think like my first couple days having memory is one of them. I don't remember exactly what happened, or maybe I do, and I just think it was a different day. It's always hard to say, because it was such a long time ago. But I believe it was summer, because it was hot. Or, well, maybe not that it was summer because it was hot, but because when I woke up there was light coming in through the tiny window that I had in my room at that time. I don't know. But I woke up and I knew what I wanted, how to get to it or something. I don't know. It's sort of like I was, to a certain extent, it was like I was on autopilot. Like I knew what I was supposed to do, but I didn't really know why. But you don't think about that kind of stuff as a kid. Especially not when it's like your first day with memory. And I always think it's funny, because I tell my parents, like, oh yeah, no, I couldn't remember anything till I was 3. Like, if you asked me to like tell you something from when before I was 3, I could not tell you a thing. And they were like, sure, but you still knew everything. So like they didn't really believe me. And I'm just like, so like, I don't know. It just feels a little rude to be like, what's your earliest memory? Like, they're older than me. So in a sense, that's asking them their age. And, you know, honestly, I don't really expect them to remember too much from all the way back then either, because I'm only 20 and I barely remember stuff that far back. They're in their 40s and 50s, so... Oh wow, maybe even 60s, honestly, getting there anyway. At least for my dad. I don't know. I guess I just thought that was something interesting I could talk about. To me, it's interesting. I don't know. I just thought that I'm always kind of curious about that stuff. It's mesmerizing in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense. Because it's something that you can't really test for or talk about. You can't bring it up unless if you're by yourself. And you, like, especially just like in conversations, you can't really bring it up without a good reason. Because it's sort of... Well, for one, it's really... I don't want to say morbid because it doesn't feel right. But there's a certain word that... I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to talk about with other people. So in a sense, this is like one of the only ways to talk about it. Since I'm not talking about it with other people, I'm telling other people about my experience, I guess. So in a way, it's you know, it's curving around the bend. It's avoiding directly telling someone. It's just like, well, it's avoiding the back talk, I guess. Though I don't really think that's important. I don't know. It's just something that interests me. Like, I don't think I could be like a neurologist or anything. I'm not that smart, and I kind of get grossed out at like in stuff inside of people being outside. I think I mentioned that honestly in a previous episode, but just like generally speaking, I don't like seeing what's inside of people outside of people. Blood is fine. Anything else, I don't like it at all. Weirds me out, freaks me out. I guess it grosses me out is the best way to phrase it. But like, so I can't do that like brain studying thing. And honestly, to the end of being scared of seeing that stuff, I'm terrified of having a surgery just because of that, honestly. That, and also the idea that, for the most part, the one time I remember being put under for a surgery type thing, I was getting my wisdom teeth pulled a couple of years ago, and I kind of, like, felt most of it. I mean, they, like, you know, like, everything was numbed, but I felt them, like, you know, doing the whole, like, drilling stuff into, like, my teeth that they were pulling out and stuff. Like, it was all numbed and stuff, but it, like, I could, like, basically feel it. Like, I knew what was happening, but I don't know. It was super surreal, because I was basically sleeping, and they were talking, but it was all muffled, and hard to distinguish what words were what. But I knew what they were doing. I could feel my mouth. I could feel my teeth. Not very well, mind you, because otherwise I might have been screaming in pain, but... I mean, probably. I can only assume. I don't know, just like, I've always thought, I don't know, I guess I'm a inquisitive person, I guess, but honestly, I just don't have, like, the stomach for that kind of stuff. It just freaks me out. honestly. Like, if somebody told me they needed to put me under and, like, cut open my stomach and stuff, I would be like, nope, I'm just gonna, where's the closest? I don't wanna, like, I don't care about naturalness or whatever. I just don't like it. It makes me sick to my stomach, just imagining it. I don't even know what a naturalist is. What? Did I just say? What I mean to say is I'm not, like, stupid. Like, I get my shots. That's fine. It used to hurt, but now it's basically just, close my eyes. Oh, it's done? Cool. It doesn't really matter. I don't know. Like, stuff like that's fine, but, like, stuff where you would be, like, actively exposing stuff weirds me out. I don't like it. Well, this has been a weird episode, but I've gotten home, so I think I will end it here for now. So, again, this is the Drive Home podcast, and I thank you for listening. I should get better at saying these things correctly, hopefully. That's the plan. But until then, I will talk to you all tomorrow. It won't be a special episode, but I am going to take my friend home first, so the podcast won't start till after he goes home. But it'll be about the same amount of time, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe. So the way I'm sort of organizing my schedule of episode release is, so for me, today is Tuesday the 14th. I release my episodes 1 week later for the most part, but I also organize them a bit differently. If I have a 5-day work week, you will get one episode on Saturday and one on Sunday of 1 week. So I guess you'll get one on the first day of the week and one on the last day, and then you'll also get 3 in the middle. So there'll be a gap. So there won't be one on Monday and there won't be one on Friday either. And so this one will come out next week, Wednesday. And so you'll have another episode tomorrow. So, yeah. That's solid. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm not going to talk your heads off. If I had anything, I would be like, hey, do that. But I don't. I'm all alone. And I'm a nobody, so why would I get sponsored? That'd be funny, though. Don't know who would, but it'd be funny. Anyway, I will talk to you all tomorrow. For real this time. Have a good next 24 hours. Bye.